Summit 2026, Danielle.
Thank you. I have a quick question. So will I be able to see the chat when I'm presenting?
Yeah.
Okay. Because it's very interactive and I'm going to be asking them questions and I need their feedback. So I wanted to make sure I was going to be able to see the chat.
Yeah, sure. The chat is visible to you. Yeah. Before going to your session, I would like to introduce you to our audience.
Okay.
Dr. Danielle is the founder of Rootwork Consulting, a professional development consultancy for health, wellness, and life coaches. With more than 15 years of experience across clinical practice, organizational leadership, and Maharshi Ayurvedic philosophy. She brings an integration of clinical expertise, doctoral insight, and Vedic wisdom to the work of developing coaches and leaders from the ground up. That was a great bio, Dr. Danielle, and the stage is all yours.
Thank you. Welcome, everyone. So happy to see everyone here. Just adjusting my screen there. Are you able to share? Okay, are you able to see this? It's not sharing the way that I would like it to. It kicks me off. Okay, we will just go with it. Okay. Sri, are you able to share my slides for me, please?
Hello, Danielle. Shall we share your PPT by my end?
Yes, if you can, that would be great. It's for some reason it's not allowing me to do that.
Yeah. Did you upload the PPT in Drively?
I did.
Yes. Just a minute.
Thank you. Well, while we're waiting for that, welcome to everyone that's here. I'm very excited to be here. While we're waiting, if you guys can just drop in the chat, we're going to do a little experiment. This is going to be very interactive. I don't like really to do things virtually. I prefer to be in person. So I wanted this to be as interactive as possible. So really quick, if you can just drop in the chat where you are joining from, so I have some idea of where people are in the world, that would be fantastic. And as we move through the content, I want you to remember that today is all about a rhythm shift, okay? It's about getting to the root work. It is not a personality overhaul. This is meant to be practical information, not performative in any way. We will be using the chat though, and I'm hoping that you guys will get a lot out of this. So if you guys can type in there as we go forward, that would be fantastic. Okay, if you can advance to the next slide, please. Okay, so let's talk about how we lead under stress. When leadership gets hard, it usually is going to show up in one of three patterns, okay? We're going to speed up, which means we have a lot of tabs open. We feel a sense of urgency. It's very difficult for us to gather our thoughts. We might heat up. This is where we feel very intense. We feel like we need to control everything. Our communication with others gets very, very sharp. Or we might slow down. We might feel heavy. We might avoid things that we don't want to do, experience a lot of procrastination. So if you're willing, in the chat, type which one is most like you? Are you most likely under stress to speed up, so type 1, to heat up, type 2, or to slow down, type 3? And just remember, these aren't flaws, they're just our stress patterns. And just remember, everything that we are looking through today is we're going to look at stress and that leaders experience through an Ayurvedic lens. Okay, I'm seeing some numbers come in. So I see a 1 from Stephanie. 1, okay. And what I will say about if you feel that 1 is most like you, this can be very typical. And when we get into the doshas, we'll talk a little bit more about why that makes sense. But speeding up is vata. And so vata can be aggravated and out of balance extremely easily, especially when you're talking about the difficulties that leaders and women go through in today's world and just today's world in general. We're busy. We have lots of tabs open all the time. I see some 2s, a couple 3s. Yeah, I typically am a 2 as well. So I become very intense, but I feel like I always have a lot of tabs open. So cool. Thank you guys. Okay, so this is exactly why today matters. None of these patterns mean that you're not capable. They usually mean that your system is just responding to the load, to the visibility, the responsibility, all of the care, and all of the complexity that you face on a daily basis. So in the next few minutes, I'm going to be giving you 2 quick quizzes and 1 tool that you can reuse anytime. So you can name your pattern without the judgment and make 1 small adjustment that can really change what your leadership can hold. This is a rhythm shift. Remember, it's not a personality overhaul. We're really looking at getting to the root of what's going on in your system. So today we'll name patterns without judgment, and then we'll choose 1 small stabilizer that can really, really help us in those moments of stress. Okay, can you advance to the next slide, please? Okay, so let's talk about specifically women's leadership. There are a lot of dualities. Leadership can come at a huge cost, and the load that we carry as leaders and as women leaders is real. For many women in senior leadership, visibility is constant, and the margin for error that we're given is very, very thin. You're asked to move with authority, but soften the edges as you go, to carry the outcome in the room, to be strong but not hard, clear but not sharp, confident but not too much, direct but not difficult, warm but not soft, assertive but still likable, boundaries but always available. And so you can see when we say these things out loud, it becomes something that's just not manageable for one human to do. So if any of this feels familiar, I'm not naming it to try to make things feel heavy for you. I'm naming it because it's real and it's something that we all experience. And when we name the load, that means that we take away its power. We've named it, and now we can stop treating that strain like a personal failure, okay? We can work with rhythm, capacity, and support so that leadership feels sustainable. Okay, let's move to the next slide. So let's talk about that invisible load of leadership a little bit more. There is definitely an invisible load to being a leader in any capacity. Many of you might be owners of your own companies. Maybe you're an executive in someone else's company. Maybe you're both. And there comes a huge amount of responsibility that comes with that. So we have to reframe leadership as capacity and not performance. When we talk about leadership, we usually talk about someone's skill set, the strategy that they use, their communication, their decision-making skills. But what we need to understand is that underneath all of that is a quieter question. What can my system hold today? To really answer this question, we have to define a couple terms. So 1, holding. What does holding mean? Holding means staying present with complexity, meaning we're managing multiple stakeholders. We have competing needs, imperfect information, without abandoning ourselves to get it done. And often I think, especially as women, the abandon ourselves is kind of the first thing that goes, right? We give up the things that help us to feel better and help us to feel centered, to help others. So let's talk about pressure without urgency. And what does that look like? What does that mean? Pressure is real. Urgency is just the nervous system's story that everything has to happen right now or something bad is going to happen, right? And we've all felt this sense of urgency, like I have to do it right now. It actually needed to be done yesterday. Pressure without urgency is about setting clear priorities, having clear timelines, and having fewer fires that you didn't actually start. So urgency narrows that perception and steadiness widens it. So let's talk about conflict without collapse. Conflict is a part of leadership. Collapse can look like people pleasing, over explaining ourselves, or sometimes just shutting down when our system can't take in anymore. Without making it mean or unsafe, we have to be able to stay regulated enough to listen, to name what's true, and to repair. We don't need conflict to disappear. We just need the capacity to be able to stay in the room and to manage that. So, what does visibility without self-abandonment look like? Visibility asks for a version of us that's legible to others, so that's digestible to others. Self-abandonment is when that legibility costs us our body. We skip our needs, we override signals of our body telling us that we need to rest or we need to eat or we need to do something. We just override that and we keep performing, and we keep our composure. Meanwhile, our system is just bracing. So you can be polished without being punished. So Ayurveda is really one of the cleanest frameworks that I know for being able to read what's happening in our system and choose what's next, to make an informed decision about what's good for us, what's good for our body, what is our system asking for, and what does it need. So today we're not adding more to the to-do list, okay? We're really practicing how to increase what you can hold by returning to rhythm. Just imagine the pressure without urgency, the conflict without the collapse, and the visibility without giving up pieces of yourself. Next slide. So Ayurveda, we need to understand that this is not a trend, it's a framework. And it's 5,000 years of knowledge that has really been coming to the forefront here in the recent future. And it can make a big difference in our life, the way that we live and the way that we lead. So Ayurveda just helps us to really recognize patterns within ourselves to allow us to protect our energy and follow those natural rhythms that our bodies and the environment of our bodies and the environment. It also can help us return to a state of being that was intended for us. So that place of stability and balance. And I feel like we hear those words a lot, that, you know, that I'm working to be more balanced, but we really need to understand what that means for us. So through our talk today, take what resonates with you and leave what doesn't. Okay. This is really just a different lens to view your leadership through. So again, in Ayurveda, we're looking at the pattern recognition. This is not a personality test. We're looking at the energy and the rhythms and the environment and how they interact and really impact us as an individual. And then we're looking at how do we know what stabilizes us and have the ability to return to it. Okay, next slide. So to better understand this, we need to talk about the doshas. These are 3 energies that we all have, okay? So it's important for us to understand that we all have all 3 distinct energies. However, most of the time, people are going to have one that is more predominant for them and their system. So when we're looking at Vata, the elements here are air and space, and this is movement and change. So this is what drives movement and change in our system in nature. Then we have the core qualities of Vata. This is movement, change, creativity, quickness. When it's balanced, this allows us to be adaptable, to be visionaries, to be expressive and innovative, and to be fast to connect the dots. Now, Pitta is fire with a little bit of water. And the core qualities here are transformation, focus, intensity, and precision. When this is balanced, it allows us to make clear and decisive decisions, be strategic and courageous, and have excellent discernment. Then we have Kapha, and our elements here are earth and water. And the core qualities here are stability, cohesion, endurance, nourishment. So when this is balanced, we feel grounded, loyal, patient, steady in our presence with a strong ability to follow through. Next slide. Thank you. So this is why our doshas are so useful to talk about. So before we take this quiz, I want you to understand why these doshas are so important and how it impacts us as individuals and as leaders. So in Ayurveda, the dosha describes both your natural constitution, your baseline energetic blueprint. Okay, that's what constitution means. It's your basic energetic blueprint. And then your current pattern. So what is being amplified at this season in your life? This can be from your workload, stress, sleep, environment. How is your body doing with these areas? And when you think about this, often many of us can say that not all of those areas of our life are functioning the way that we would hope that they are. So when you see Vata, Pitta, Kapha, don't hear a label, okay? I really want you to hear language for pattern recognition, movement, heat, heaviness, and what helps restore the balance. So it's really what we're going to be looking at, and that's exactly what this quiz is for, okay? So I'm going to go through, and if you have a piece of paper or something just to jot some things down, I want you to write these words. The first word is energy. The second word is stress. Third word is appetite. Number 4, mind. Number 5, sleep. And number 6, pace. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to give you a few words for each of these numbered words that you've written down. And I want you to answer based on what's most true lately, not who you think you should be. And then we're going to tally up which category you have more of. Is it Vata, Pitta, or Kapha? And then we're going to use these results as a practical starting point for choosing the most stabilizing next step. Okay? So for number 1, energy. If you feel like you get strong bursts of energy, put a V for Vata next to energy. If you feel like your energy is strong and steady, put a P next to energy. And if you feel that your energy is steady, but sometimes slow to start, so it takes you a little bit of time to get built up, put a K next to energy. For stress, can you go back one? Thank you. For stress, if your body feels restless, maybe you struggle with a dryness feeling in your body, that would be V for stress for Vata. For stress, if your body feels hot and you tend to be more irritable when under stress, write P for Pitta. And under stress, if you feel more heavy and sluggish, write K for Kapha. For appetite, number 3, if your appetite is variable, meaning you don't have specific times that you feel hungry, some days you feel hungry for breakfast, some days you don't, write V for Vata under appetite. If you have a very strong appetite, you know when you're hungry, you have very specific times you have to eat, you get hangry, write P next to appetite. And if your appetite is pretty steady and consistent, write K for Kapha next to appetite. For mind, if you experience a racing mind, lots of thoughts going on all the time, this is going to be Vata, so write a V next to mind. If you feel that your mind is very intense and can tend to be somewhat critical, write P next to mind. And if you feel that your mind is steady and very persistent, write K next to mind. 2 more, hopefully everybody is still with me. For sleep, if you're a very, very light sleeper, you're easy to wake, write V for sleep. If you wake and you're like on, your feet hit the floor, you're ready to go, you're going to write P for Pitta. And if your sleep is very deep and long and you tend to have very deep, long sleeps, write K for Kapha. And finally, for pace, if you feel like your pace is very fast and variable, write Vata or V. If you feel like your pace is very fast but focused, write P for Pitta. And if you feel like your pace is steady and consistent, write K for Kapha. Okay, hopefully everyone got those. Let's move on to the next slide. So now let's look at these results. So you're going to look at your highest score. What did you have most of? Did you have mostly V's for Vata, mostly P's for Pitta, or mostly K's for Kapha? Remember that there can be ties. That does happen. So go ahead in the chat and just type V, P, or K for what was the one that stood out to you and had the highest number. What was your highest score? Kapha, okay. Beautiful. So I'm going to keep going while we have some of these scores coming in. Lots of Kaphas. I love that. Okay, so let's talk about what does this look like out of balance. And remember, out of balance doesn't necessarily mean bad. It's just information that helps inform us. So we want to notice what we recognize without judging it, okay? So when Vata is in excess, you may feel scattered, anxious, feel inconsistent, restless, a lot of overthinking. I know in today's world it's very easy to overthink. If you're Pitta, you may feel a sense of irritability, struggle with perfectionism, always feel like you're on, and then have very sharp, direct communication. For Kapha excess, you might experience procrastination or even avoidance, a heaviness or an overattachment, or even a low motivation. Okay, let's move on to the next slide. So now we're going to do a second, slightly different quiz. The first one was about your current nervous system pattern and what's loud in you lately. Where are you right now in this moment? This one is about your leadership expression, the way your energy tends to organize a room when you're leading, especially when you're under pressure. Ayurveda gives us a very clean and non-judgmental language for this, with movement being Vata, heat and precision being Pitta, and stability and containment being Kapha. So as you take it, don't aim for the best style. Answer based on what you reliably do when the stakes are real. How do you decide? How do you communicate with others? Set the pace and hold tension. So just like before, there are going to be 10 questions. So just label a paper 1 through 10. And you're going to tally Vata, Pitta, or Kapha. So all of the A's are going to be Vata, all of the B's are going to be Pitta, and all of the C's are going to be Kapha. And we're going to use the result to name your strengths and your out of balance cues so that we can lead with more choice, not more force. Okay. So number 1, when stakes rise, my first move is to A, scan for possibilities and pivot fast. B, take charge and drive towards a decision. Or C, stabilize the room and slow things down. Number 2, in conflict, I'm most likely to A, talk it through quickly, sometimes jumping between topics. B, get direct and push for clarity and resolution. Or C, stay calm, listen, and try to de-escalate the situation. Number 3, when I'm highly visible during a presentation or a spotlight, I tend to feel energized but scattered and often improvise. I get sharp and focused, and I want to land perfectly. Oh, and third one is not on there. Let me see if I can. Or C, get steady and grounded. I keep it simple and consistent. Okay, next slide. My default relationship to time, this is number 4. A, time is flexible. I'll figure it out as I go. B, time is a target that I have to hit. Or C, time is a container and I'm here to hold it. Number 5, under pressure, my communication becomes A, fast, idea rich, sometimes nonlinear. B, precise and intense, but sometimes blunt. Or C, measured, reassuring, and sometimes maybe too quiet. When a plan breaks, I A, generate new options immediately. B, identify what failed and correct it quickly. Or C, rebuild the basics and restore stability. And the final one on this page, in decision making, I'm most comfortable when A, we keep options open. B, we can choose and move forward decisively. Or C, we can gather input and build consensus. Okay, next slide. And the last few here. My leadership strength people praise most is A, creativity and adaptability. B, courage and results. Or C, reliability and steadiness. Number 9, when I'm stretched thin, I'm most likely to A, overcommit, then scramble. B, push harder and then become irritable. Or C, hold everything, then feel heavy or withdrawn. And number 10, in a tense room, I instinctively A, try to lighten, reframe, or shift energy. B, name the issue and move it forward. Or C, create safety and keep everyone connected. So go ahead and tally those up, count all of your A's, all of your B's, and all of your C's. And remember, A's are Vata, B's are Pitta, and C's are Kapha. Okay, next slide. Put in the chat for me, what did you end up with as your primary leadership dosha? Vata, Pitta, or Kapha? So remember, whatever you came up with, this is your dosha under your leadership dosha under pressure, okay? It's not who you are, but the pattern you default to. This is your default system. When the stakes get high, when the visibility increases, when the conflict is in the room, this is your default, that higher letter. So Vata, Pitta, or Kapha, okay? Now, if you're Vata leaning, your gift is going to be agility, where you have lots of ideas, movement, quick adaptation. If you're Pitta leaning, your gift is going to be precision with clarity, decisiveness, and results. And if you're Kapha leaning, your gift is steadiness, containment, loyalty, and a calm presence. Okay, so let's look at what are some Vata characteristics when we are out of balance as a leader. We can become very rapid, have rapid pivots. We have strategy whiplash. We're making quick decisions and maybe need to just slow down a little bit. We might over communicate, start a lot of initiatives, but struggle to finish any. struggle with nervous system showing up in urgency, insomnia, feeling scattered in our attention. Delegation might become very inconsistent and we might really struggle. So if you feel that this is you, that Vata might be your out of balance leadership dosha, type land in the chat for me. Next slide. Let's talk about Pitta. So Pitta leaders who are out of balance, this is where we get the over control. The communication can become very sharp. We might escalate things quickly, struggle with perfectionism. Work becomes our identity, right? We lose ourselves in our work. The team experiences a lot of pressure, fear of mistakes, and burnout. If this sounds more like you, type soften in the chat. Next slide. And finally, we have Kapha. So Kapha leaders who are out of balance, they might experience delays in decisions. They might avoid necessary disruptions. So they know it's going to be hard. And so they just pause. They do nothing. They might find themselves over accommodating or blurring boundaries, holding too much emotionally, and then feeling quietly resentful. They may feel some stagnation, feel like we're not really moving forward. We're not really executing the plans. And the team might experience comfort, but without momentum and clear accountability. If Kapha is you, type start. Okay, so let's go to the next slide. So the point isn't to fix the type, okay? It's to notice the pattern early so you can choose the next right quality and return your system to rhythm. So let this be a mirror, not a verdict. So what can we do to find ourselves when we're out of balance? We can implement small root practices that are small, repeatable supports that work beneath the surface, not big reinventions, not another self-improvement project, okay? In leadership, we're often trained to manage what's visible, the meeting, the message, the outcome. Root practices are for what's less visible. It's for the rhythm, for capacity, for our ability to stay with pressure and urgency, manage conflict without collapse, and that visibility without self-abandonment. So we choose one practice that feels doable for us, almost modest. It can be very small. So the goal isn't to become a different person, it's to give your system something steady to stand on so that your leadership can be both effective and human. So for Vata, one finish line per day. If you're a dominant Vata person or a Vata leader, pick one finish line per day. That's your goal. If you're Pitta, recover before you earn it. Trade perfection for precision. And for Kapha, start with 5 minutes, not 50. Give yourself kind accountability. Next slide. So before we end, I want to leave you with one tool that you can use this week. Anytime leadership gets loud, I call it the rhythm audit. Can we move to the next slide, please? Perfect. So anytime throughout the week, if you start really feeling like you're struggling, look at these 3 questions and ask them gently. What's speeding me up? What's heating me up? And what's weighing me down? And then end with a final question. What's the smallest root that I can put in the ground today? One practice, one boundary, one rhythm cue that I can really focus on and pay attention to. Let this be a mirror, not a verdict, and a way back to yourself, okay? Next slide. You guys are asking some great questions. And I'm going to give you some things. So if you want to go deeper, this is my new ebook. It's called What the Tree Knows. It's coming soon to Amazon Books, and it's going to be available in ebooks and paperback. Not available yet, still in editing. But this is going to take everything we've talked about today and take it way, way down, much, much deeper. And the final slide, please. So I want you guys to remember that your leadership is allowed to be human, okay? When pressure rises, notice what is feeding you up, what's heating you up, and what is weighing you down. And just choose one small root practice that helps you return to steadiness, Okay. If you'd like a gentle structure for that, can you flip to the last slide for me, please? On the last slide, we have a QR code, and this is what's next. So this slide will take you to a free download of the Root Practices mini guide. And so this will give you some more. Somebody was asking, what are some of those Ayurvedic women leader practices that we can start today? This is a really great start, this mini guide. And it answers the next question, which is how to help prevent leadership burnout. All of these things are a good start. Find your rhythm, put in daily routines, even if they're small. The biggest takeaway, I guess, that I want you guys to get is that you can find balance in leadership. It takes dedication to yourself. It takes a level of self-awareness to know when you need to pause and to look inward and figure out, what is my body telling me and what do I need to do next? And Ayurveda is one of those things that can help provide some of those answers and skills. So if you want more, please reach out. My email's here on this last slide. I'd love to talk more. If you have any further questions, feel free to email me. And I appreciate your time so very much. It's been an honor to be with you today. Thank you.
Yes, Danielle, that was a great, and this is really an interactive session. We really enjoyed your presentation, and we gained a lot of knowledge from your session.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Please join the backstage and join the next session.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.